I just need to know who this woman is. So I was devouring books, the internet, anything I could get my hands on, any picture I could kind of dive into her eyes into. I just really wanted to know who she was. And I really wanted to help tell her story, bring her story kind of back to life.
Hello, everyone. Talal Azim here from Popcorn and Soda, and I'm very excited today to be joined by a very special guest. She's the star of the film Queen of the Ring, which depicts the life of legendary female trailblazer Mildred Burke. In the world of professional wrestling, I'm very excited today to be joined by Emily Bett Rickards. Emily, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm so awesome. Thanks for the great intro.
Hey, my pleasure. Well, number one, I want to congratulate you on the film Queen of the Ring. I did have a chance to watch it, and being a fan of cinema and pro wrestling, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, the film's out in America, and now it's being released in select theaters here in Canada starting April 4th. So how are you feeling, Emily? Like, what are the vibes now that this is finally being rolled out to everyone?
Well, it's awesome to be rolled out in Canada. That's like, as a Canadian, that's when it becomes real, especially for your dad, when the local paper calls you, that kind of thing. So it's exciting. I'm grateful that Canada's kind of getting their turn.
Absolutely right. Go Canada, go.
Go Canada, go, baby.
Hells yeah. So the real highlight of this film to me, Emily, is that you don't even need to be a pro wrestling fan to enjoy this movie, right? At its core, it's a story about dreamers and the human spirit and those who actually go out and chase it. So what was your entry into this world? Were you a fan of pro wrestling prior to this, or did the script come along and you were just really connected and hooked with Mildred's story?
More connected with her story because I didn't know anything about wrestling. I didn't know anything about pro wrestling, which I think was helpful because I didn't come with any judgments. I just came with a game attitude. I was like, this is ready to go. And then, throughout my training, I'm just meeting all these icons and I'm going like, Al Snow, Camille Brickhouse, Tony Storm, or what are you, and so I was very welcomed, into the world of wrestling in a really cool way. And, so supported by the pros I had around me to sort of show me the ropes in a sense. But when I first read the script, Mildred's story to me was just so incredible, and to have not known about her felt like a disservice. So I really wanted to not only tell her story. If I was at this point, I didn't have the job yet. I was like, I just need to know who this woman is. So I was devouring books, the internet, anything I could get my hands on, any picture I could kind of dive into her eyes into. I just really wanted to know who she was. And I really wanted to help tell her story, bring her story kind of back to life.
Yeah, it's such a unique role, like you said, right? Because you have to be all in because it's based on a real person. The photos, the stories are all out there. And like your wrestling and physicality, you just crushed it in this film. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Emily, walk me through your training camp for this movie.
Okay. So Mildred Burke was jacked and stacked. She had a lot of muscle. Not only a lot of muscle for now, but definitely a lot of muscle for the era. Women were not in the gym. They were not putting on muscle at the time. It was not, en vogue. It was, she was an outsider, and to find out who she was energetically, that muscle was really important. Not only visually to, make it look real for the audience, but to find out how she operated in the world was completely different with all that muscle. Your spine changes, your shoulders are back, there's more to carry. And so I had a team of people, Dr. Diego Bottizelli here in Vancouver, as well as Thomas Taylor, both trainers. Diego's a nutritionist as well. And they created a program for me that would not only start me off, but would take me to Kentucky and then I could continue through the training process. And a lot of that was, big focus on nutrition, very important to do this. So lots of high protein, that kind of thing. Weights, no cardio, so heavy lifting at a certain pace. And then as you get stronger, the program kind of changes. And then getting to Kentucky was when the wrestling started to percolate. Al Snow, Dougie Basham at OVW, and all the wrestlers at OVW that let me throw them incessantly, give them as many bumps as possible for me to learn. they were the ones helping me sort of get into that wrestling mentality that was just, not only improv and pivoting, but making sure that you hit the mat correctly so you didn't get injured. And making sure that you could, hit your opponent correctly so they don't get injured, that kind of thing. So it was full on.
No, I love that because like pro wrestling, it's such a dance, right? It's equal part trust
Totally.
as it is, entertainment and the athleticism of it. It's great that there's so many professionals that are actually behind the scenes and in front of the
Yeah.
camera as well, like Tony Storm, Camille, Trinity. Now,
Yeah.
another person you know fairly well who's also integrated in the world of professional wrestling is your era co-star, Stephen Amell.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
whether it's actually having matches or starring in heels, did you guys ever have a conversation about this? And was there any
I
advice that he
don't.
shared?
No, I don't think we had one wrestling conversation. I think that's at the fault of me because before this film, I didn't know anything about wrestling. So anytime I think probably he was having a conversation about wrestling, I just wasn't there. Right. But now I hope that when we see each other, we can go full on. I can give all the jargon and like be in the know. So I look forward to the day I just absolutely slam it.
Right on. Now, like I feel like anytime an actor leads a film based on pro wrestling, the cliche question becomes, would you ever consider having a match? For
Hmm.
you personally, do you have any desire to want to pursue something like that? Is that something even that crosses your mind?
I like never say never. I was addicted to wrestling at the time. It's an addictive sport. It's not only, there's such a thrill using your body in that way, and the fact that it's combined with storytelling really speaks to who I am. I'm an actor because that's what I love. It seems to translate well for me and my passion in life, and it's another avenue to do that. So the answer is yes, and why not? I'd have to probably relearn how to take a bump, because at the time I felt like I was trained like a total pro, but coming back to sort of Emily and me, was sort of deloading that in a sense to find self again. And so yeah, with a little bit more training, 100%.
Right on. Well, hey, who knows? Putting it out in the universe.
Who
AEW All In
knows?
Texas coming out soon, like in like later in the summer. Hey, Tony
Let's do
Storm,
it,
Camille.
baby.
Let's
Let's
put it out in the
go.
universe. Let's do it. Awesome. Now that you've had this experience of being in the movie, now getting to know a lot of pro wrestlers, do you find yourself watching pro wrestling now, or is it still kind
I
of,
follow I follow Tony, I follow Camille, I follow Trinity. I follow people that I know. I feel like I have a personal connection to them. So I'm kind of just like obsessed with what they're doing.
oh, I love it. I love it. Now, what is something you take away from like Mildred's story outside of just the athleticism and the pro wrestling part of it that you found that you've applied to your life today?
Well, one thing I think about a lot, especially the way our world is divided right now, and anytime you turn on the news, it just feels like there's something else that's, sort of dividing us as a human race. And I think that she really believed that we are stronger together, and the more we're divided, we're just weaker. We're not only like picking sides, we're dividing ourselves in half, right? And I think, she was a woman of this time that wanted to liberate herself, liberate for other women, and not only that, I think really included a bunch of people around her that maybe she was told wasn't the right thing to do. And I think she challenged her own learned judgments and changed them. And that is a pattern of thinking I think we could all get better at and we could start to do. And I think really, feel impassioned by that, not see it as a challenge, but see it as inspiration, see it as something that benefits and energizes us forward. I think that we kind of get scared and we feel like shame can come on, but what we really need are those stories that go, "Oh, that looks like a good idea." This can empower us, and I think that is something I take away from her story, and I hope that audiences will as well.
Now, lastly, you've now played two iconic female characters in the world of popular culture, right? Mildred Burke, of course, and
Mhm.
Felicity Smoak. The Arrowverse is such a massive part of DC for like almost a decade, and I just loved your performance in that as well. I
Thank you.
loved watching the show. Hey, my pleasure. Now, we're now in a new phase in DC with James Gunn, Peter Safran at the helm. Now you
Yeah.
kind of have a different perspective on it, right? Would you ever want to reprise that character of Felicity or even play something different in this universe?
Oh, I mean, both. I think both, absolutely both. I think playing someone different in that universe as an actor just to me sounds like getting to know another character. So that's just another avenue for me to explore, what I'm here to do in this world. So absolutely. And then to be able to be with Felicity again would be incredible. She is someone I really honor. I think she made me a better person. I think she's a great person. And I was really lucky to play someone, especially in my young 20s, who was that, and I think that she's so relatable and so driven to kind of be better. I'm like, why not? I think about her and I just kind of am just like, I love her,
I love it. Well, again, sending out positive vibes into the universe because we would all love to see you again. So, Emily, congrats once again on the film. It is such a great, inspiring film from everyone, and your performance is such a standout. Wishing you all the best with the Canadian release of Queen of the Ring. And most importantly, I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.